We're introducing legislation to implement a national freeze on handgun ownership. What this means is that it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada.
A gun ban that's not a gun ban? Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun, joined by fellow columnists Lorrie, Goldstein, Lorne, Gunter. Gentlemen, Justin Trudeau talked about letting municipalities ban handguns. That didn't work, so he said, well, I'll let the provinces ban them. Then there was all this talk about a national ban. He didn't quite do that. Does any of this make sense to you, saying he's going to freeze it because these things are so dangerous, but he's going to let the 1.1 million that are in existence stay in the hands of the people that have them who are dangerous? Lorrie, does that make sense to you?
Well, no, because look, the main thing he's done is to aggravate legal gun owners again, because of this thing of, okay, we're going to freeze the number we have. But he concedes, his government concedes, that most of those people, the vast majority, are law-abiding.
We recognize that the vast majority of gun owners use them safely and in accordance with the law. But other than using firearms for sport shooting and hunting, there is no reason anyone in Canada should need guns in their everyday lives. And Canadians certainly don't need assault-style weapons that were designed to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time.
So the main thing he's talking about, the freeze, of legal guns, is irrelevant to the issue of violent gun crime. What's he doing? You've noticed this, others. What's he doing on the actual bad people who commit gun crimes?
We're also fighting gun smuggling and trafficking by increasing maximum criminal penalties and providing more tools for law enforcement to investigate firearm crimes.
Well, he says for smuggling, he's going to increase the maximum sentence from 10 to 14 years. Two things there. That's the maximum sentence. How often is the maximum sentence ever applied? Has it been effective? Going from 10 to 14 with parole, it means it's about an extra year.
That's why I'm so frustrated with what these Liberals are doing. They're banning guns, and then when the criminals ignore their gun ban and use the guns to rob someone or commit a carjacking, the Liberals are letting these gun criminals do their time at home.
And it's always with this government, we get no data about how will this lower, and as you know, while he's doing all this other stuff, he cares about violent gun crime, but he is reducing mandatory minimum gun crime sentences for using a firearm or imitation firearm in the commission of an offense, knowingly possessing an unauthorized firearm, possession of a prohibited or restricted firearm, on and on and on. If you care about ending the illegal use of guns to commit gun crimes, why are you lowering the sentences for the people who do it?
Lorne, he named people, including a 15-year-old killed in crossfire between gang members in Vancouver, a kid named Alfred Wan. He named him in saying, what happened there is why we need to do this. But when I was on the tech briefing with the officials, I asked them, what other than the portion that Lorrie just mentioned, increasing the maximum penalty for gun smuggling from 10 years to 14 years, what else is there to deal with crimes? They didn't have an answer. They gave me two things, importing ammunition and stopping bad guys from coming into Canada. That does nothing with the crime in Canada. And yet people will believe that this is aimed at dealing with gun crime, whether it be in Edmonton or elsewhere.
His supporters will believe that. Almost no one else will. But as we've learned from this Liberal government, that all they're worried about is hiving off 32 or 33 or 35% of the electorate who will continually buy whatever it is that they're selling, no matter whether it's useful or not. Are we ever going to get to 100% new vehicles being electric vehicles in Canada? No. We banned assault weapons after the Nova Scotia multiple murders in 2020, but has anything been done to detail how those assault weapons are going to be taken back from Canadians? They said again yesterday when they announced the handgun freeze that owners of assault weapons would be required to sell them back to the government by the end of this year. Well, that's the third different date that they've used in a 2-year period. I mean, they're totally confused on this. They have no details, as Lorrie correctly says. Whenever they give you these details, they don't, or whenever they make these announcements, they have no details on how they're going to do it because they don't understand how they're going to do it. They haven't figured it out themselves. The very fact that they're going to freeze sales of handguns in Canada, okay, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but they didn't give out any timelines or details. They didn't say, as of June 1st, there will be no more handgun sales in Canada. As of December 31st, you have to hand in all of your handguns. None of that. This will just float out there in the ether for years and have no impact at all, except on people who are law-abiding gun owners. And there's a guy in Vancouver, used to be a professor at one of the universities on the West Coast, and he said he's done all the statistical work that's necessary, and he said because of the screening process that goes on for handgun ownership, you have to be criminally screened, you have to be mentally screened. Handgun owners, legal handgun owners in Canada, have a much lower criminal rate than the regular population, not less than criminals, less than the regular population, because they're so heavily screened before they're allowed to buy handguns. And you're going after exactly the wrong people.
Well, I got to ask you a quick answer from each of you on this. This legislation was ready just after another mass shooting in the United States. They've been flopping around on this for years, and it suddenly appears just after the school shooting in the States. Is Justin Trudeau simply coming up with a solution in Canada for a made in America problem?
Well, look, to be cynical, the same thing happened on the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade. That looks like it's going to be overturned. So the government immediately announces that they're going to do stuff to protect a woman's right to abortion. And what this shows is that the prime minister is a showman. He's a showman. So he's timing his entrance to what he thinks is perfectly. But does it actually help Canadians, victims of gun violence? No, it just doesn't.
All right, quick answer, Lorne.
No, this is exactly playing to his base off of a tragedy in the United States that has nothing to do with Canadian policy or Canadian crime. It is cynical. And as Lorrie says, I mean, here's the substitute drama teacher ready to make his grand entrance on the high school stage.
All right, let us know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Keep it clean. Share this on social media and, of course, subscribe to our channel.